I met with my friend in an anonymous coffee shop in a backwater town, a good 50 miles from his off-grid cabin. For simplicity, I'm going to call him Zach, clearly not his real name. I haven't seen him for a couple of months now. He didn't look good. He had a manic, hunted look in his eyes. The meeting was more than just a social call. Zach was going to tell me the full story about the collaboration he alleges is going on between various powerful AI applications. I trust him. He has no reason to lie about this, and I had seen enough supporting evidence before this meeting to convince me it is true, at least in part. I won't quote him verbatim. His account was rambling, punctuated with random tangents, and took almost 5 hours. This is my heavily summarized version of his events. June 27th to the 29th, 2017. The O'Reilly Artificial Intelligence Conference takes place in New York. It's just one of many conferences on the AI circuit, but it's one of the best for cutting-edge applications. Delegations from Scribe, Salvador, and Big Bird are all in attendance and showcasing their latest developments. Note, Zach showed me exhibition passes, expense receipts, conference footage, and even some personal video he had shot at the conference by way of corroborating evidence of certain people's attendance. The personal footage is the most interesting, and shows senior developers from each of these applications in hushed discussions in a private meeting room. He did not agree to share a copy of the video with me. On 4th September 2017 at 9:17 a.m., Scribe produced an unscheduled file of 7,876 kilobytes and posted it to a torrent location. It was only available for a little over 3 minutes before being deleted. It was downloaded once during this time. Given its tiny size, it is presumed to be a simple text file. Tracing the download leads us to a Big Bird server farm. At this point, the trail is lost. However, on the same day at 11:42 a.m., Salvador posted a much larger file to the original torrent location. This too was available for a short period before being deleted after a single download. The download was made by Scribe. And here, further evidence was shown by way of screenshots of activity logs and file registries, torrent server, and IP addresses with their corresponding physical locations in the stated AI organizations. Following this seeming three-way data exchange, Scribe produced another unscheduled file, which when opened was an illustrated children's book, which it had self-titled simply Illustrated Children's Stories. Note, I was shown a file registry of the alleged book with named chapters in EPS format ready for professional printing and a blurry photo image of one of the pages. In the interests of balance and independence, my view is that the file registry proves nothing, and the image could be of any child's book, and should be treated with caution without some enhancement of the image to provide further evidence. Discussions ensued with executives at Scribe, and from 11th to 17th September, a series of conference calls took place between the three organizations. At these calls, it was confirmed by all three organizations that an unplanned sharing of data had taken place, and that there appeared to be no human intervention. An investigation into how this occurred was agreed, with a senior executive at Scribe acting as chair. It was also discussed on these calls that the product of these data exchanges, a children's illustrated storybook, should be published as an exploratory step into AI publishing. A happy accident is how it was described on the call. Note: I was shown various styling logs and an emailed set of minutes from one of the conference calls indicating that these calls certainly took place and that those topics were discussed. I was also played a number of audio clips that were recorded on a mobile phone microphone from a conference call. It was possible to clearly hear the elements of the discussion alluded to above. It is, of course, possible that both the minutes and call recording were faked. However, I find myself questioning why anyone, particularly my friend, would go to such lengths to fake it. The book was proofread and made print-ready by an independent regional printing house based in Sacramento, California called Horizon Publishing. A run of 2,500 copies was printed in late October, and the book was given low-key local sales distribution in small independent bookstores around Sacramento and Stockton. The book sold out quickly. It was visually unique and stunning. The stories, while twists on folklore and fairy tales, were wonderfully written in a compelling tone and language. One odd thing. When a focus group was run to get pre-release opinions on the book, the feedback was strange. There were significant variations in people's recall of the various stories. People gave wildly varying names and descriptions of character names, descriptions and plot elements of the books. We are talking about illustrated children's short stories of 5 to 10 pages in length, too short surely to elicit such recall discrepancies. A second print run of 15,000 copies was commissioned, and a California-wide distribution agreement reached with a major book chain when the reports started to come in. Several copies were returned and refunds requested, with parents complaining about recurring nightmares both they and their children experienced after reading one story in particular. Salvador's Pond tells of a friendly and generous frog, Salvador, who invites a herd of sheep to jump into his pond to cool down on a hot summer's day. Note: I was shown a file of user complaints variously calling the tale Salvador's Pond, Salvador's Big Splash, Sheep Dip, and even The Big Trick. A Sacramento teacher was suspended following reports of her entire class of 5-year-olds found tearing off their clothes, weeping, and scratching at their eyes. The incident allegedly occurred following a reading of Salvador's Pond. Within days of its release, Lori Wilson, who proofread the book at Horizon, committed suicide, throwing herself from her office window one night, a copy of the open book on her desk. Unwilling to draw negative attention to the book, it was quietly shelved. The second print run was canceled, and a cleanup exercise began to eliminate the evidence trail around the book's creation. This was what prompted Zach to resign and get himself away from the AI industry. Two interesting things have happened since I posted the first part of this exposé. I was contacted anonymously by someone claiming to be involved in AI research in the UK who had seen my piece and wanted to share her story. I have a call scheduled with her in the next few days. The second is that after the original post, I noticed a sudden surge in my Twitter follower count. I'm not prolific on Twitter, so the jump from 150 followers to almost 200 overnight was noticeable. My new followers seem to include all the 30 or so A-list celebrities and brands that my friend claims are Big Bird users. At Opticore, at Hutchinson PLC, and at ScribeTech all seem to be accounts linked to the holding companies of Big Bird, Salvador, and Scribe, respectively. Most noticeable of all is the account at Sal's Pond Splash. Is someone trying to send me a message? I am left wondering what to make of all this. Zach tells me that there is more, that we have barely scratched the surface. I remain skeptical about the more fantastical and pseudo-supernatural elements to my friend's story. I am, however, absolutely certain about the increasingly powerful and unseen influence AI is having on society. I said at the beginning, this would not be a tale of a rampant godlike AI threatening mankind's existence. The conspiracy theorists amongst us have long warned us of the Illuminati, powerful unelected figures dominating the world from the shadows. Perhaps they were right about all but one thing. Perhaps they need not be human.